The night it happened, everything felt normal. Rain tapped softly against the windows, creating a calm rhythm against the chaos of the city outside. Inside the apartment, warm light filled the space, wrapping it in a quiet kind of peace. A soft laugh echoed from the kitchen as Mira moved around, setting the table like she always did. Adrian Voss stood near the doorway, watching her. "You're staring again," she said, smiling without turning around. "I'm memorizing," he replied. "Memorizing what?" This moment, she laughed lightly. "You're getting weird maybe," he said, his voice softer now. "Or maybe I just know how fast things can change." He didn't know how right he was. It started with a sound of faint, almost unnoticeable click. Then suddenly, the door burst open. 3 masked men stormed inside with precision and speed. This wasn't panic. This wasn't random. They moved like professionals, calculated, controlled. Adrian reacted instantly, his instincts kicking in. But he was too late. A single gunshot shattered the silence. Mira collapsed. Time slowed to a crawl as her body hit the floor. The warmth in the room disappeared in an instant, replaced by something cold, something unbearable. "No." Adrian's voice broke as he rushed toward her, but before he could reach her, a powerful blow struck the back of his head. Darkness swallowed him whole. When Adrian opened his eyes again, the world had changed. The room was silent, still lifeless. He forced himself to move, his body heavy, his head pounding. Slowly he crawled across the floor, his hands trembling as they reached her. Mira, no response, only silence. And in that silence, something inside him shattered beyond repair. Hours later, the police called it a robbery gone wrong. A tragic accident. Wrong place, wrong time. But Adrian knew better. Nothing about that night was random. The entry had been clean, the timing too perfect, the execution too precise. This wasn't a robbery, it was a message. And Mira had never been the target. Adrian Voss wasn't just a grieving husband. He was a man with a past he had buried for her. A former Black Ops operative, trained to hunt, to survive, to eliminate threats without hesitation. He had walked away from that life, choosing love over violence, but now, love was gone, and the man he used to be was all that remained. Days turned into nights, and nights into something darker. Adrian reopened old contacts, people who owed him favors, people who lived in the shadows. Slowly, piece by piece, the truth began to surface. A name, Lucien Cray, a man who didn't officially exist in any system that mattered, yet controlled everything from behind the scenes. Businesses, money, power, he was untouchable to the world. But not to Adrian. The first man Adrian found was in a crowded nightclub. Music blasted through the walls, lights flickered wildly, and people danced without a care in the world. No one noticed Adrian walk in. No one noticed the storm behind his eyes. He moved through the crowd like a shadow, silent and focused. Within seconds, he had his target. The man barely had time to react before Adrian dragged him into a back room. "What happened that night?" Adrian asked, his voice cold and steady. "I don't know what you're talking about." Adrian tightened his grip. Wrong answer. Minutes later, Adrian walked out alone. But now he had something more valuable than answers. He had direction. Each man led to another. Each step pulled him deeper into a world he had tried to leave behind. And with every confrontation, Adrian changed. He became colder, more controlled, more dangerous. And somewhere along the way, less human. Then came the truth. Mira had seen something she was never supposed to see. A transaction, names, accounts, evidence tied directly to Lucien Cray's empire. She wasn't in the wrong place at the wrong time. She was in the right place, at the worst possible moment. And for that, she had been silenced. By the time Adrian reached the final lead, there was nothing left of the man he used to be. Only purpose, only vengeance. Lucien Cray lived at the top of a glass tower that overlooked the entire city, a symbol of power, of control, of a man who believed he was untouchable. That belief would be his mistake. Adrian's approach was flawless. Security systems went dark. Guards were taken down without a sound. Step by step, he climbed higher, closer to the man who had taken everything from him. When the doors finally opened, Lucien was waiting, calm, composed, almost amused. "Adrian Voss," he said, as if greeting an old acquaintance. "I was wondering when you'd come." Adrian didn't respond. His eyes said everything. "You killed her," he said finally. Lucien sighed, almost bored. "Your wife was unfortunate." That word echoed in Adrian's mind. Unfortunate. She saw something she shouldn't have. Lucien continued casually. "It was necessary. She was innocent. She was irrelevant," Lucien replied. And just like that, the last piece of restraint inside Adrian disappeared. The fight that followed was brutal, raw, unforgiving. Glass shattered, blood spilled. Years of pain, anger, and loss were unleashed in every strike. It wasn't just a fight. It was everything Adrian had been holding back, and in the end, Lucien fell. Silence filled the room. Adrian stood there, breathing heavily, staring at the man who had taken everything from him. It was over. The mission was complete, the revenge he had lived for, achieved. But something was wrong. There was no relief, no satisfaction, no peace, just emptiness. Because no matter what he had done, no matter who he had killed, Mira was still gone, and she wasn't coming back. As the first light of morning broke through the shattered glass, Adrian turned and walked away. The city was waking up. A new day was beginning. But for Adrian, there was nothing new left to live for. Only a quiet, haunting truth that followed him into the light. Revenge doesn't heal the past. It only steals what's left of your future.